The stars were quiet, but the war was not. Captain Eric Dawson flew his ship low across the alien sky. He had been part of a patrol mission, watching the borders near the Drelith zone. His ship, the Falcon 3, was a small scout craft not made for heavy fighting. It was fast, light, and carried just enough firepower to escape if things went wrong. But things had gone very wrong. A sudden ambush. Enemy ships came out of nowhere, sleek black Drelith fighters. They moved like shadows, fast and deadly. Eric's team tried to call for help, but the signals were jammed. One by one, his squad mates disappeared from the screen. He watched them vanish with growing panic. Eric fought back. He dodged lasers and missiles. He fired every weapon the Falcon had. But it wasn't enough. One blast struck his wing. Smoke filled the cabin. Lights blinked red. The Falcon spun out of control. He crashed. The ship skidded across a rocky field and slammed into the base of a hill. Everything went dark. When Eric woke up, pain shot through his side. His head hurt. The cockpit was broken, and the Falcon was ruined. He looked around. No sign of his team. No sound of rescue. Only silence, wind, and strange purple trees swaying under two suns. He was behind enemy lines. Deep in Drelith territory. Alone, he grabbed his emergency pack. Food, water, a small blaster, and a tracker beacon. But the beacon was damaged in the crash. It would take time to fix. If the Drelith found him first, he'd be captured or worse. Eric limped away from the wreckage and into the forest. He didn't know where to go. He only knew he had to keep moving. Far away, someone watched him. Her name was Kayla. She stood on a high ledge. Her dark eyes locked on the smoke rising from the crash. Her skin was silver blue, and her hair was braided with tiny metal beads. She wore the armor of a Drelith warrior, tall, graceful, and fierce. Kayla was not like the others. She had served in battles. She had followed orders. But her heart had always asked questions. She had seen human prisoners brought to the camps. She saw their fear but also their bravery. And when she looked at them, something in her heart stirred. The war was old, long and bitter. The Drelith believed humans were greedy, wild, and careless. Humans thought the Drelith were cold and cruel. Both sides hated, both sides feared. But Kayla was tired of hate. When she saw the ship fall, she felt something inside her shift. She climbed down from the ledge and followed the smoke. Eric had made a small camp by a river. He tried to light a fire, but his hands were shaking. The pain in his ribs got worse. Sat down and breathed slowly. He didn't notice the soft sound behind him. Then he heard it. The branch snapped. He grabbed his blaster and turned. Kayla stepped into the clearing. They stared at each other. Neither moved. Eric saw her armor and knew who she was. He raised the blaster. His hand shook. Kayla raised her hands, slowly. She didn't speak. She didn't reach for her weapon. Eric's mind raced. Was this a trick? A scout before an attack? Kayla took one step forward. "I won't hurt you," she said in quiet, broken English. Eric blinked. He didn't lower the blaster. "Why are you here?" he asked. Kayla looked at him to help. "No Drelith helps a human," Eric said. "I am Drelith, but I choose my own path." Eric didn't know what to say. The war had taught him not to trust. But something in her voice, in her eyes, felt real. He lowered the blaster. Just a little, Kayla knelt and took out a small medkit from her belt. She pointed to his side. "You are hurt." Eric hesitated, then nodded. She stepped closer and knelt beside him. Her fingers were gentle as she pressed the healing gel to his ribs. He winced, but the pain eased. They sat in silence for a while. Two enemies. Now only two people. "What's your name?" Eric asked. "Kayla? Eric?" She looked at the broken beacon near the fire. "You were trying to call someone?" "Yes," he said. "But it's broken. I need time." "You don't have time. Scouts will come." Eric felt a cold fear in his chest. Kayla stood. "I will lead you to safety. There is a cave, far from here, hidden." "Why would you do that?" he asked. Kayla looked down at him. because I am tired of war, and because you did not shoot." Eric looked at her. The wind blew through the trees. The sun began to set. He stood up slowly and followed her into the forest. Behind them, the smoke rose from the falcon. Ahead, danger waited in every shadow. But for now, a small spark of trust began to burn in the dark. And the war, for one moment, took a breath. Jack woke early. He stretched his sore leg and looked at the entrance of the cave. The sun was just rising. Kira was already there, placing small berries in a wooden bowl. She looked up and smiled. Jack sat beside her. "Where do you get these?" Kira pointed toward the cliffs. "I know the safe ones. Others can make you sick." Jack chewed one and nodded. "Good, better than ration bars." They shared a quiet breakfast. Then Kira pulled out a small device. "It was old and rusty. I found this," she said. "It may help fix your beacon." Jack studied it. It was a power chip, one that could boost the signal. "Where did you find this? An old supply station? Far from here? We can go there, or parts inside." Jack hesitated. "Is it safe?" "No. Guards pass nearby. But I know the ways." Jack nodded slowly. He trusted her. He had no other choice. They left at sunrise. Kira knew the land. She led Jack through narrow paths and across dry rivers. The sun was hot. They hid when a patrol flew above. Jack saw the fear in her eyes, but she kept moving. After hours of walking, they reached a large rock wall. Kira placed her hand on a hidden scanner. The door opened. Inside was a quiet room with broken tech and dusty shelves. Jack looked around. "This place is amazing." Kira smiled. "It was for training. Long ago. Now forgotten." They searched the shelves. Jack found wires, tools, and connectors. His hands moved fast. He still knew what to do. He looked at Kira and smiled. This might work. But outside, something moved. A shadow passed near the door. Then voices.
Scary.
Kira grabbed Jack's hand and pulled him behind a wall. They held their breath. The voices came closer. One soldier stepped inside. He looked around but didn't see them. Then he left. Jack whispered. "That was close." Kira nodded. "We must go now." They packed the parts and left through a hidden tunnel. When they reached the surface, the sun was setting. Jack looked at the sky. The first time he felt hope. That night, back in the cave, Jack worked on the beacon. Kira watched him. He was tired, but he smiled. He had made progress. Kira placed a blanket over his shoulders. "Sleep, tomorrow we finish." Jack looked at her. "Thank you for everything." She nodded. "We are not enemies. Not anymore." They sat together, the stars shining above them. They were still in danger, but they were not alone, and that made all the difference. Jack worked through the morning. He connected the wires, tested the signal, and checked the beacon again. Kira handed him tools and watched closely. She had never seen human tech up close before. It was strange but beautiful in a way. By midday, Jack finally smiled. "It's ready. I think it'll work." He activated the beacon. A soft light blinked. The signal went out into space. Now they had to wait. Kira looked at him. "How long until someone hears it?" "Maybe a day, maybe two. Depends who's listening." They sat in silence for a while. Jack cleaned the area around the cave. Kira prepared food. But both felt nervous. The human ship came, they would be saved. But if the Liari found the signal first, it would be over. That night, they sat by a small fire. Jack looked at the stars. "What will you do after this, if I'm rescued?" Kira was quiet. "I don't know. My people learn I helped you, they will call me traitor." Jack frowned. "You don't deserve that." Kira smiled softly. "Maybe not, but it is the truth." He looked at her. "Can come with me to human space." She shook her head. "Your people may not trust me either. I'll make them. You saved my life." Suddenly a light flashed in the sky. A ship, far above, but growing closer. Jack stood. That's a patrol ship, human design. They waved a light near the cave. The ship turned. It was coming, but then another flash. This one read. Kira's face went pale. Liari scouts. They saw the signal too. The two ships moved toward the crash zone. They would arrive soon. Jack grabbed the beacon. We need to move now. We have to meet the ship first. Kira nodded. I know a way. Fast, but dangerous. They left the cave, running through the dark paths. The wind howled. The ground shook as ships passed above. Lights flashed behind them. They were being followed, but Jack kept going, Kira beside him. They had started as enemies. Now they ran together, toward hope, toward rescue, and into whatever came next. The night was cold. Jack and Kira moved fast across the rocky path. The sound of ships echoed in the sky. Jack looked up and saw the lights of two ships. One was human. One was Liari. Both were heading toward the signal. Led Jack through a narrow canyon. The rocks were sharp and the ground was uneven. Jack's legs still hurt, but he did not stop. Kira moved like she knew every step. She looked back often to check on him. We are close, she said. How close? Jack asked, breathing hard. There is a flat ridge near the hills. If we reach it first, the human ship will see us. Jack nodded. Let's go. Behind them, they heard the soft whine of a scout drone. It flew low, searching. Kira pulled Jack into a crack between the rocks. They waited in silence. The drone passed above and moved on. They kept moving. The path grew steeper. Jack slipped once, but Kira caught his arm. Her grip was strong. You okay? She asked. I'm fine, Jack said, even though he wasn't. Finally, they reached the top of a small ridge. In the distance, the human ship came into view. It was silver, with blue lights, moving slow and steady. Jack pulled out the beacon and waved it. The light blinked fast. A light on the ship blinked back. They see us, Jack said. Kira smiled. But then her smile faded. Behind them, loud footsteps. Ayeri, soldiers. 4 of them, moving fast, weapons ready. They followed us, Kira said. Jack raised his blaster. Get behind me, now Kira said. We do this together. Soldiers came closer. They stopped when they saw Kira standing beside the human. One of them, a tall male with dark armor, spoke in the Liari language. Kira replied calmly. Jack didn't understand the words, but he saw the anger in their eyes. The soldier pointed his weapon. Jack raised his blaster, ready to fire, but Kira stepped in front of him. No, she shouted in her language. The soldier froze. The others looked at each other. Kira spoke again, strong and clear. She told them that Jack was not an enemy, that he had shown kindness, that she had chosen to help him and she would not step aside. The soldiers looked confused. One lowered his weapon. The leader did not. Then a loud sound shook the ground.
Ow!
Human ship hovered above them. Bright light shone down. A voice spoke from the ship. This is Captain Lee of the human patrol. Step back from the pilot or we will open fire. The Liari leader looked at Kira, then at Jack. He made a harsh sound, then turned and walked away. The others followed. Jack stared in disbelief. They're leaving? Kira nodded. They do not want to fight under your ship's guns. Door. On the side of the human ship opened. A rope dropped down. A soldier called out, Jack Morgan, we're here for you. Jack looked at Kira. Come with me, please. She hesitated. She looked back at the hills. At the place she had always known. If you stay, Jack said, they might punish you. Kira looked into his eyes. And if I go, you'll be free with me. She took a deep breath. Then she took his hand. They climbed the rope together. Inside, the ship, human soldiers stared at Kira. Some reached for weapons. Jack raised his hand. She's with me. She saved my life. Captain Lee looked at them both. You better explain this, Morgan. I will, Jack said. Let her. Stay. Lee looked at Kira. She stood tall and calm. Then he gave a slow nod. All right. But she stays in the med bay until we figure this out. Fair enough, Jack said. They flew away from the ridge, from the rocks, from the war, at least for now. In the med bay, a nurse cleaned Jack's wounds. Kira sat nearby, quiet. Jack looked at her. You okay? I don't know, she said. He smiled. We'll figure it out. For now, they were safe. Together, a human pilot. An alien healer. In a future that no one could have expected. The ship's engines hummed softly as they moved through space. Jack sat in the pilot's seat, his legs still hurting, but his mind sharper than ever. Kira was in the med bay resting quietly. Jack wanted to talk to her, but he knew she needed time. Captain Lee entered the cockpit. He looked serious. We are heading to the human base now, he said. You both will be safe there. But things won't be easy. Jack nodded. I understand. Kira is not just any Liari. She helped me survive. Lee sighed. I know, but many here will not see it that way. Jack looked out the window at the stars. We need to change that. When they arrived at the human base, the ship docked with a loud hiss. Soldiers and officers waited at the airlock. Kira felt nervous. Had never seen so many humans close. They looked at her with eyes full of questions, some cold and wary. Commander Ross was waiting. She was tall and strict. Who is the alien on board? She asked sharply. Jack stepped forward. This is Kira. She saved my life. Ross frowned. We don't know if we can trust her. She is with me, Jack said firmly. Ross nodded slowly. She will stay in the guest quarters, under guard. Kira's room was small, but clean. She sat by the window looking out at the stars. She missed her home, her family, and the dry fields she used to walk, but she was glad to be alive. Jack visited her every day. They talked about their worlds, their hopes, and fears. Kira learned more human words. Jack learned about Liari culture. One afternoon, Jack introduced her to a few crew members. Some smiled and welcomed her. Others stayed silent. Rachel, a young mechanic, was kind. She told Kira about her brother who died in the war. Maybe if we talked more, this war wouldn't have happened, she said softly. Kira nodded. I want peace, too. But peace was fragile. One day, alarms sounded. The station went into alert. A Liari ship appeared near the edge of human space. It sent a message demanding Kira's return. Jack and the commanders gathered in the control room. Hey, want her back? Ross said. Jack shook his head. You can't send her back. It's not safe. But they threaten war, Lee said. We have to protect her, Jack said firmly. Kira stood tall. If I go back, it may bring war anyway. But if I stay, maybe there is hope. Ross looked at her. Do you trust us? Kira nodded. Trust, Jack? They sent a reply to the Liari. Kira was free. If they wanted peace, they must come without weapons. Hours passed. No answer. Then a message. We will come. No weapons. Jack looked at Kira. This could be the start. Kira smiled. Yes. Maybe peace can grow. Together, they waited for what would come next. Jack sat alone in the dark room of the ship. The engines hummed softly around him. Outside the window, stars passed slowly. He could not sleep. His body was tired, but his mind was full of worry. Kira was in the med bay, resting. The doctor said she was fine. But Jack knew she was not at peace. She had left everything behind: her home, her people, and her safety. All for him. The door opened. Captain Lee stepped in. He looked at Jack for a long moment. You've been quiet since we left the planet, the captain said. Jack nodded. Just thinking, bringing her aboard was a risk. The crew isn't happy. She saved my life, Jack said. More than once. I read your report. Still, she's Liari. Most of us have lost people to their side. Jack stood up. She's not like the others. Captain Lee crossed his arms. That may be true. The command won't see it that way. What will they do? Interrogate her. Maybe send her to a holding station. It's if they don't send her back to Liari space as a peace offering. Jack's face turned pale. You can't let them do that. It's not up to me, Lee said. But if you want to help her, then keep writing. Send a full report. Show them she's not the enemy. Jack nodded slowly. I will. Later that day, Jack went to the medbay. Kira was sitting up, looking. At a tablet, she was trying to read human words. When she saw Jack, she smiled. I'm learning, she said. Jack sat beside her. It's good, you'll need it. Your people, will they accept me? Jack looked down. I don't know. Some might, others won't. But I'm going to help them understand. Kira's eyes were sad. I miss the sky of my world. Jack nodded. I miss peace. Maybe we can find both. The ship reached the human base 2 days later. It was a large station. Near the edge of known space, big metal arms reached out from the center, holding many ships. Lights blinked everywhere. The crew stood ready as the ship docked. Soldiers waited at the airlock. A tall officer stepped in. Her name was Commander Ross. Her face was hard and cold. Which one is the liar? She asked. Kira stepped forward. Her hands were calm. I am, she said. Place her under guard, Ross ordered. She will be questioned. No, Jack said quickly. She's not a prisoner. She's an alien, Ross replied. And we are at war. Jack stepped. In front of Kira, she's a witness. She helped the mission. She deserves respect. Ross stared at him. You're close to her, I see. Yes, Jack said, and I trust her. Ross gave a short nod. Fine. She stays in guest quarters, but under watch. That night, Jack sent his report to command. He wrote everything how Kira saved him, how she gave up everything to protect him, how she believed in peace. He hoped someone important would read it with an open mind. Days passed. Kira stayed quiet. She walked in the garden area of the station. Some people stared, some whispered, but no one spoke to her. Jack stayed near her when he could. He answered her questions and brought her new books to read. One afternoon, a young mechanic named Rachel came to them. Are you the alien girl? She asked Kira. Kira stood still. Yes, Rachel smiled. I think it's cool you're here. My brother died in the war, but maybe if we had talked to each other more, it wouldn't have happened. Kira said softly, I'm sorry. Rachel nodded. Thanks. Maybe you and Jack can change something. That small moment gave Jack hope, but trouble was coming. 1. Morning, alarms rang across the station. A Liari ship had entered human space. It sent a message. A voice echoed through the speakers. We demand the return of the traitor. Her name is Kira. She has broken our laws. If she is not returned, we will act. Jack ran to the control room. Captain Lee and Commander Ross were there. They want her back, Ross said. No, Jack said. They'll kill her.
We
Can't risk war over one alien, Ross replied. She's more than that, Jack shouted. She's proof that peace is possible. Lee looked at Ross. We need to think. If we give her back, we lose something important. Ross frowned. If we keep her, we invite danger. Kira entered the room. She had heard the message. I will go, she said. Jack turned to her. No, you can't. I don't want more people to die, Kira said. If my life can stop a fight, maybe it's worth it. Jack shook his head. You don't belong to them anymore. You chose a new path. Ross looked at her. Do you trust our people, Kira? Kira nodded. I trust Jack. I trust that not. All humans hate me, Ross sighed. Then let's find another way. They sent a message back to the Liari. They said Kira was not a prisoner. She was free. If the Liari wanted to talk, they must come in peace. No reply came for hours. Everyone waited at last. A small message arrived. We will speak. No weapons. Jack looked at Kira. They're coming. She smiled. Maybe this is the start. Stood together as the future came closer. The day was quiet, but the tension was strong. The human base prepared for the meeting. Jack stood beside Kira. Both knew this was important. It might change everything. A ship from Liari arrived. It was smaller than Jack's ship, but looked powerful. The door opened slowly. Out came a Liari leader named Varn. He was tall and wore a long silver robe. His eyes glowed softly. Varin looked at Kira and then at the humans. His voice was calm. "We have come for peace." Commander Ross stepped forward. "We want peace too, but trust is hard." Jack spoke up. "Kira showed us there is good between our peoples. We can work together." Varin nodded. "But many do not agree. We must prove this peace is real." The talks went on for days. Humans and Liari shared stories and plans. Kira spoke for her people. Jack helped explain human ways. Some soldiers stayed outside, watching carefully. Inside the meeting room, the tension slowly eased. People began to see each other not as enemies, but as individuals. One day, a human officer named Ben stood up. "We should help each other. If we fight, we lose more. But if we work together, we can find new worlds," Varin agreed. "Let us build a future, not war." Outside the room, Kira and Jack walked in the garden. The sun was warm. Kira smiled for the first time in weeks. "Do you think it will work?" she asked. Jack looked at her. "I believe it can. You've changed my world. Now we must change others." Kira took his hand. "I am ready." But not everyone was happy. Some humans whispered against Kira. Some Liari wanted revenge. The war had lasted long, and old wounds were deep. One night, Jack heard voices outside his room. He opened the door. A group of humans stood there, angry. "You trust an alien?" one said. Jack stood firm. "She saved my life. She is not the enemy." The men left, but the danger was clear. The next day, the base received a warning. A group of Liari warriors planned to attack the station. They wanted to stop the peace talks. Jack and Kira warned the commanders. "We must prepare," Kira said. The base went into alert. Soldiers took their positions. Jack helped fix the defenses. Kira worked with the medics. When the attack came, it was fierce. But humans and Liari fought side by side. Together, they stopped the attackers. After the battle, the peace talks grew stronger. Both sides saw the power of unity. Jack and Kira became symbols of hope. The leaders signed a new agreement. They promised to end the war and begin a new friendship. As the sun set, Jack and Kira stood outside the base. Stars shone above. Kira looked at the sky and smiled. "We made a difference," she said. Jack nodded. "And this is only the beginning." They held hands, ready for whatever the future would bring.